My name is Cori Iannaggi, and I graduated from the MLIS program with a specialization in museum studies in 2015. From 2015 to just this past month, I've been working at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the curatorial department, working on exhibits. And I just recently left the Rock Hall because I'm taking off on a personal project where I'm going to be traveling the United States on a museum-themed road trip for 8 months and writing about my experience. So when I started with the Museum Studies program, I was accepted as a graduate assistant into the program, and one of my responsibilities was working as the MuseLab manager, which was basically running the space. So my main responsibilities was helping create exhibits in the space, whether it was as an assistant curator or as a head curator in the space, giving tours of the space and fabricating the exhibits as well. So doing wide format prints, vinyl cutting, and then also managing the volunteers in the space. When people wanted to do workshops in the space, we have a couple workshops that come in here, that come in for a day for working with the students in the workshop, and I would help the teacher of the workshop set up, or if she had any questions about where things were in the space, I would help her with that. I also helped create a skill clinic where we had somebody from the ICA, which is a conservation group or company in Cleveland, really well known for their work, come in and teach a day class on basic conservation. And that was really great. I was really proud of the work that went into that. It really was the MuseLab that stood out on my resume. After the interview and when I got the job, that was what my boss said, is that the MuseLab, your work there and all the interesting and innovative work that the MuseLab does is what really made us stand out. And I mean, the proof is, this exhibit right here, the Music Makerspace, is the Rock Hall. They decided that they wanted to use the MuseLab space to help the Rock Hall as well. So they're testing an exhibit that will be installed into the Rock Hall at a later date because the Rock Hall doesn't have an experimental space like the MuseLab. So I think the proof is right there that they're behind the MuseLab, and they were behind me because of the MuseLab. So it was a crucial experience. Two most important things I learned, I would say one of them definitely was that the theoretical side of museum studies is just as important as the practical side. Obviously the practical side is your hands-on experience, which is what a lot of people are looking for right off the top of the bat when hiring. And then also the theoretical is what helps your museum improve. If you keep up with the new research and studies on museum studies, it's all about how to make the museum better for the visitors, for the staff, and that's where you learn to improve. There were a couple classes. There was 2 in-person classes when I was in school. It was object knowledge course. I was able to take it twice, which was really great. And basically the premise of the class was to create an exhibit from start to finish. And that was by far one of the most helpful 2 classes that I had, because my interest in museum studies was mostly in curatorial and exhibit work. So it was really that experience, particularly in those 2 classes, and then my work as the MuseLab manager, that helped me get my job as a curatorial assistant at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I didn't realize how hard it was to put together an exhibit until I was in the lab physically doing the work. There's classes in the Museum Studies program where you create an exhibit. You create the concept of the exhibit. You go as far as you can until the actual implementation of the exhibit work, which is, again, is great experience, but you can't fathom how much goes into the putting in an exhibit until you're actually in the space. And the MuseLab, it's not even that big of a space. It's a 20 by 20 room. And just the amount of time that went into creating an exhibit in this space, like I said, I just couldn't imagine if I didn't have those classes, and it really prepared me for when I went into the actual profession, into the Rock Hall and was creating full-blown exhibits. I would say my favorite things that I did in the museum studies program were the in-person classes and the workshops and all of the group exercises. While I may have disliked it working in groups like most people do, yeah. And at the time, but those are really the most practical experiences that you're going to get. You know, you're not going to be perfectly matched with everybody that you work with in the field, and working with all different types of people in the museum studies program prepares you for working in a real life experience. Like I've been saying the whole time, I think the MuseLab is a space that if you're a student and you're local, you absolutely should be in here. Whether if you're taking a class or if it's just volunteering every now and then, I think it's so important to get that hands-on experience, and it's just another thing that you can put on your resume in addition to your degree. I just can't say it enough that hands-on practical experience is so important, and the MuseLab can help you get that.